obviously we don't have a huge budget, so we don't have the best riders in the world. But like I said before, that's not what we're about. But when your main athlete, who is meant to win, is there to win World Cups, gets taken out, and you can't explain, you don't know how long it's going to take. That was a very scary concept for the team, and obviously for my dad and everything we worked towards. But we've learned so much, and then over time, Two Palms were like, "Look, we've got a great story here, nonetheless." Like I think, but a lot of people were worried, a lot of sponsors were worried. We didn't know what way it was going to go.
Welcome to the Ride Companion 75. We're here with Tahnée Seagrave. Round of applause, Tahnée Seagrave.
Oh yeah, long time coming.
Hi.
Long time coming. Finally got Tahnée on the podcast. I'm stoked. Really excited. Thank you, Tahnée. Really appreciate you joining us for a wee chat.
I feel like Tahnée needs like a giant introduction.
Yeah?
No.
Yeah, I feel like we have to do. I'm not good at it though. Warner's really good at that, isn't he? But like,
get him on the phone.
yeah, we need to just go through stats. Do you know all your stats?
Well, what type of stats? I know that I've never been world champion.
So there we go. That's a classic racer.
But yeah,
8 World Cup wins. Is that how many you've got? How many podiums you got?
Oh, I don't know. Chris Kilmurray will know that one, but it's a pretty good percentage. Yeah, it's a good percentage. We're pretty proud on that one, not gonna lie.
So proud that you don't even know what it is.
Yeah. I don't count them. I don't sit there and like tick them off, you know.
No, that's fair enough. Going for the W's.
I'll be honest. I'd be ticking it off.
No.
I count pump track race podiums.
Yeah, that's pretty much my only one as well. It was against you, and that's why I know it.
Davey beat me
Like
at full
annual
cross race.
dual slalom with like all the boys looks pretty competitive. We always see that on Instagram. You guys doing dual slalom every year. We're super motivated to do one here. Like we want to get it done properly with Vero, Cade, Chaos, just something between all the mates that we can like get proper competitive with.
You got the scene for it, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Some
that's
heavy
what we're saying.
hitters in the crew.
I know,
Definitely.
and we thought if we like do it properly, me and Vera are like, oh, if we like do real tight corners and like so that they can't pedal out, maybe we'd have a chance at possibly beating some of the boys. So yeah, we got to get on that.
I think that's a good one for winter for sure. They do it here in Sheffield. They do like a Wednesday night. I don't know if you've seen that Wednesday night dual race.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's just in like a local park. It's all kind of sort of like underground a little bit. You kind of got to be in the scene to get invited to it and stuff. It's like at night, so it's all headlights and torches and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I'll be honest, I rarely go and do it, but
there's something about dual slalom so sick though, eh? Like
like
Bass.
core,
Did you see Bass posted a clip? Tangent number one. Bass posted a clip of a slalom run. And it was like one of those ones where it keeps him in the frame dead in the middle. It's almost like a filter, and so he's going down that. And it's so cool seeing someone so on the edge. I feel like slalom is like. What is it, like 40 seconds? You can be so on edge for 40 seconds.
Bass is king of dual slalom though, isn't he?
Yes.
Yes.
He's known for that shit, yeah.
Yeah, incredible momentum through corners. Like, insane momentum through corners.
Yeah. Not sustainable for 5 minutes.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not.
Tahnée, let's get straight to it. You're here to promote your series. Obviously, you're here to talk with us, but you're mainly here to promote the series, right?
Yeah. Oh, I was like, I wonder if I can get a little, I don't know, like promotion in there. Be like, be sure to watch how we roll.
That's what we're here for. We're here to help promote it for sure.
Let's get it straight in now. No, but actually, it's quite something. Obviously, I was kindly invited to the premiere, and it was wicked coming and seeing it. I didn't actually know what to expect, to be honest, and I think it's rad to see another series like that, especially coming out now, like when there's nothing. It's so cool to go back through the season. Maybe less cool for you, I don't know. But
I mean, it was at the premiere actually. It was hard because we had obviously a one-off mashup, didn't we, of like the entire season. So I think they really wanted to capture obviously the emotional side of it all, and that was pretty hard to watch. But as the episodes have come out, I don't get to see them before they come out, so they're just as new to me as they are to everyone else. So
Wow.
I am a bit nervous as when they drop, but I think the production company Two Palms have done an incredible job, and they like weren't in the mountain bike scene, so it's so nice to have a breath of fresh air of people that edit stuff that they would want to see, and not just me going like, oh, I look sick in that clip, put that one in.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
True. What was the brief coming into it? Obviously you've looked at the sport in general and the fact that there's not been. We were talking about it just before, actually. For a while, obviously we had Atherton Project, which followed those guys pretty closely. This is PT, for me, was one which gave people a real insight into teams and stuff like that. But do you remember what the brief was and what you wanted to try and achieve with it before you started filming?
Well, I think my dad for ages has wanted kind of like a fly on the wall type thing for our team, because he's always felt like we're a little bit different, and we've stuck together from the beginning. I've never gone to a big team. I've had loads of offers in the past, and obviously especially when I was winning a few years ago, and it just never felt right to leave. And we always try and make sure that we bring people in that we know are going to gel well with all our personalities, and I feel like everyone's a character. So that's super important to us, to just have that family vibe and to make sure we're having fun whilst we're on the road, because as you've seen in the series, shit gets pretty tough sometimes. So yeah, it means a lot to us to have a good support network. And my dad just thought, I feel like people would want to see this side of downhill racing.
For sure, yeah. And I think it's obviously what made, I think it's important probably to draw a parallel with Drive to Survive, because that's a similar sort of thing. It's not everyone gets to see that behind the scenes look at what it's really like to be a Formula 1 driver or a downhill mountain biker. So yeah, I think personally I've seen the first 3 episodes. Obviously there's only 3 out now. By the time this comes out, there's probably 4. I'm not sure. When are you every week? I can't quite. Is it every week?
Yeah, so we're every Saturday at 4 p.m. UK time, and then I think there might be a break over Christmas. I'm not too sure yet, because the guys have so much shit to edit. It's insane. Obviously they've gone through a whole season, and we've been mic'd up the entire season. So I think when we got to the end of the season, maybe we saw that there was a lot more work to be done. But yeah, each episode kind of has a little storyline, and it's just a different way. I think the next one might be about chaos, but again, I'm not sure, because the first few have obviously been pretty heavily involved with me and Phoebe. So yeah, I'm pretty sure the boys ones are coming up soon, and I think that will be so interesting, because obviously chaos is just switching over to freeride. So yeah.
Interesting.
Exciting.
You mentioned. Sorry, we're going to go all over the place here a little bit, I think, because we've not got long with you. You've only got a tight window, so we're going to go all over the place. But you mentioned, obviously, your dad being a massive part of the team manager and stuff like that. What was your... Okay, we're all over the place, apologies. But what was your first introduction to biking, and, your dad... What's your dad's background? How did he end up in this position of being a team manager and, nurturing this talent of 2... a daughter and a son?
Well, there's actually 3 of us. I have an older brother as well, but he doesn't ride or anything. He used to be really into football and played for, I'm pretty sure he played for the Chelsea Youth Club for a while, and then just kind of steered away from that. So my mum and dad have both been into sports massively. They're super active people, and we grew up in South London, so in Croydon, and my dad used to dabble in BMX, hated racing, because he wasn't very good at it, I think, but he would just cruise around the streets, and yeah, he enjoyed it. But there was never I don't know, I think we were never pushed as kids to be good at what, I don't know. I used to do gymnastics when I was younger until I was about 8 years old, and I was really good at that. I loved that. But I've always loved pushing myself, and I think I've always just been so competitive. I'm not sure if it's growing up with two brothers being sandwiched in the middle or whatever, but I've had to fight for my place, I think, and that's something that's just stuck with me. I only have recollections of being insanely and embarrassingly competitive when I was younger as well, that above all else. So but yeah, my dad, he just, I don't know, it's just naturally come to where we are today. We moved to France when I was 8 years old, because my older brother was, South London and Croydon wasn't the greatest place for kids to grow up. My older brother was getting into a bit of trouble, and so yeah, we moved over to France. They were just fuck it, they ditched everything and took us over
That's
there.
crazy.
And
So that
yeah.
was the first thing. I guess from the outside looking in, you'd think, okay, they've gone to Morzine chasing mountain bikes or snowboarding, but that
That's
wasn't the
what I
case at
would've thought
all.
as well,
Yeah. No, loads of people think that we moved out there for riding bikes, but my mum and dad just wanted a better upbringing for me and my brothers. And we weren't in Morzine because obviously it's insanely expensive. We were outside of Morzine, and they bought like an insanely run down like old mill, and we spent like a year renovating it and like sleeping in dust, and we like kind of like cut it up so that the two upper floor, like the only way it would be sustainable is if they did a chalet and catered for people, and that's how we'd be able to live there. So they cut it up, and we stayed in this little flat, and mum would end up catering, and dad the people that came to stay, and then people that came to stay were bikers or mountain bikers, and we were just like, whoa, what's this? So kind of got into it then like CRC, Chain Reaction, they came over and stayed, their team, we got really close with them. We were just kids, so then we got like given bikes from people like Vanessa Quinn back in the day on Intense with Nigel Page, and we just like, it was just super lucky who we met, and I think my parents are really sociable people, so they got on really well with everyone, and we're still friends with most people ever since.
That's a really cool journey to a bizarre family business. You know, like thinking back then, you would never have thought that it would end up where it is now, would you?
It's like a really organic way of getting into it, and I think you know, people from the outside again looking in might be like, this is sort of like a constructed plan, but it's just happened like beautifully and organically. That's amazing.
I think really cool. Like, nowadays there are, because it does happen a lot, doesn't it? People are born and they're like, you're going to be a mountain bike world champion, you know. So we see that quite a lot, and that was never the case with us. I think we just picked and choose the sports. I used to do so much. I would play like handball in France, and we did BMXing, and then it just slowly, you know, snowboarding slowly filtered down to mountain biking, and I used to beg dad to go racing and just dropped everything else, and like caught the bug. I loved it.
Wow, that's right, cool. Yeah. So is your older brother a shredder though? Like, is he like low key just an absolute shredder on a bike?
No, he hasn't ridden in years, but he did. Like when we first moved over to France, he would also participate in mountain biking. But if it would be funny to see him on one now, actually, I think. But yeah, he's a legend.
I love seeing my siblings on bikes. Like, I can't understand how they can't do it. You know, I can't remember. I kind of can't remember not being able to do it. So then when I see them, it makes me, they've never done it. And it's so weird seeing them be so, no offence, bad at it. Yeah.
Mate, like the last time I seen my brother on a bike, my brother doesn't ride at all. I was walking up a little sort of like bridle path in the peaks, and he was coming down it, no helmet on, annihilated drunk because he was on a pub crawl. And he saw me, he like looked, and then just rode straight into a fence. And that was the last time I saw my brother on a bike. I'm like, dude,
well, actually, my older brother as well. We were coming back from school, and he swapped bikes with one of his French friends. And obviously we didn't know at the time that his brakes were the wrong way round. And my brother wanted to do a massive skid. We like bombed down this hill, and he wanted to do a massive skid, and he like turned around to look at us, and obviously pulled what he thought was the back brake and pulls the front brake, and he went flying. And like it was just like
such a classic.
It's obviously like quite funny now, but at the time, like, we were bombing that, like, the hill was huge, and like I was so young, I was crying loads because he couldn't remember. Like, obviously he was severely concussed, but yeah, I don't think, maybe that was the point where he thought, you know what, he's going to go back on a bike again.
It's gnarly to think back to when you're younger, like how much you get away with it when you're younger.
I don't know how we're all standing.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did the front brake make that front flip noise? That like noise?
I was just so. He was like, his face was fucked as well, like so bad. So yeah, but probably a bad memory for him. So probably why he doesn't ride bikes.
Wow, that's class.
Yeah, always check the brakes.
Yeah, it happens so much as well with us growing up, especially the dirt jump scene was always, you know, back brake on the left, and then you sort of make that transition. Is it back brake on the left? No, right. I can't remember. It's that.
Well, I run my back brake on the right actually. So
Do you on your jump bike?
all bikes because
No.
yeah, I got given my first BMX by Nigel Page again through Intense, and he just put my brake on the right, and he's like, "That's how you should run it." So I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then obviously, as I got to mountain biking, it just felt normal to put my brake on the right. So, and I grew up in France, so I guess I don't know. Both me and Chaos have our back brakes on the right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, kind of annoying though when you get into moto because we didn't start riding moto. We obviously got introduced to moto as we got into mountain biking, and the brake situation for me is just in the clutch is just I can't comprehend it. Like I just never use my foot brake, like the back brake, and then I'm just constantly using the front brake and like just crashing constantly. It's so annoying.
I have zero control on a foot pedal. Like I find it so hard when people like I'd love to be able to wheelie a motorcycle, and I just have zero control. It's like I'm ham-fisted. It's literally like I've got a horse foot. You know what I mean?
And with
just
the
no
boots
feeling
as well.
Yeah.
And like, how do they like them like feather it and stuff? I just don't. I forget it's there. I just can't even. And then I get up, and then Kate's like, "Stand up," and I like stand up, and then I accidentally go on the brake, and it's just like, just so annoying. I can't like. Big respect to everyone that rides moto because I cannot.
I believe the old school way was to remove the front brake, take it off, and then you can only use the back brake. That's the old. I think. Do you remember the Gary Semix DVDs, Ollie? No, you're not heard of that. Okay, it's old school moto.
That's what I should do.
Instructor, I guess you'd call him. He had a video series before they were even a thing, and one of those was like, you take the front brake off and you do like a circle of 8 corner track, and you only use the back brake.
Interesting.
You start using it pretty quick once you've only got one, I think.
Yeah.
Best luck on a downhill bike doing that. Yeah, with the front brake on. It's actually shockingly difficult to slow down, isn't it?
Yeah.
Without a front brake.
So you don't realise how much you use your front brake until like it's gone or like you've snapped it off or it's impossible to ride down properly.
Isn't it?
True.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I remember people saying like 70% of your speed is lost on your front brake. So like 70% of your braking, or certainly in cars it is. And I would imagine it's the same on a bike, except you move your weight back and forth. But it's still going to be a giant percentage, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it'd be interesting at this point just to fast forward a little bit, if that's okay. One of the major topics in the series is your injury and concussion. I think it was a nice segue since your brother had already had one.
Yeah. I think we all had one.
Yeah, true. Very true. Very true. So yeah, I kind of want to approach this kind of delicately because I know it's a rough subject, but one that's probably really interesting and important to cover for a lot of people listening who want to learn more about it and stuff. So if it's cool, like, can we just start on the day when that injury happened? Like, it was at Vantajam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was at Vantajam.
You talk a little bit about the day, how the day was going, and how everything was going at that point in your life and career and stuff.
Well, I'd already so we'd done Lords. Like all off season, I was kind of struggling with some other bits, and like I thought I had some severe health condition because I was like constantly tired and like couldn't. I don't know. It was just I've just felt really off all off season. And I kept pushing through it. I had loads of blood tests, like back and forth into hospitals trying to figure out what was wrong. And at one point, I actually thought I was just going crazy because like we couldn't find anything. But I just didn't feel right. But yeah, so right before Lords, I actually went to APC where Red Bull is in Austria and did a load more blood tests, did scans like 2 days before the World Cup started. And I was actually weirdly like after the day, I was like, I threw up everywhere. Like I'm not sure if it was because like the amount of like testing I'd done and like obviously needles here and there, but had like a weird like a massive anxiety panic attack for like a day and a half. It lasted, and this is like the first time I had a few over the winter for the first time, but that was like a savage one. But turned up to Lords, all went kind of well, like got a third place, a second off the win, and we were like, sweet, like this is going great, yeah. And it kind of like, I think at that point we're like, okay, well she's fine, you know. But then I got COVID straight after, And then took a few weeks off, and then yeah, Vantajam. I thought, sick, I can get back into riding. Like I can go on cruise with my mates, whatever. Like it'll be a nice vibe. And the jumps are actually pretty savage. They're quite like technical jumps, and I don't know, for some weird reason I was just like, I have to do a top to bottom. Like I think because Darkfest had just been on as well, and like I was inspired, and like, you know, as I said earlier, I'm very competitive, and I just kind of, it was so, I don't know why my brain felt the need to do that, but anyway, did the first few jumps fine, and then there's like this transfer jump, and I didn't have enough speed, cased it, and fully went over the bars, and it was pretty savage. And I remember thinking at one point, like, I didn't think I knocked myself out, but looking back, I was kind of like sliding, and then thought, oh my god, I'm crashing for ages. So I must have like switched off for a bit, and then like realized that I was still crashing. So yeah, that's the crash in itself, and then yeah, just had all the symptoms of a concussion, and just slowly got worse really over the next week. And then that was it. Yeah, that was, and then the rest will obviously see it in episode 3, and in how we roll, how much it affected me, and what the symptoms were, and then I think later on in the series we'll see like, yeah, I went to a concussion centre in Zurich, and like I went round everywhere in Europe trying to find answers, and kind of just never knew that was even a possibility, you know.
So you didn't actually go to sleep on the crash? It wasn't a knockout, it was or was it a
like
well,
an in out?
Yeah, I can't remember being knocked out. Like I remember like I stopped crashing, and I was just like, oh my god, thank god for that, because it was so painful, obviously. And I like tried to, I did get up, and then kind of just like couldn't really stand up properly, so I like sat back down, felt super sick, and like couldn't really understand what was going on. And yeah, I think everyone's been in that situation where they're super confused. But I actually remember, Ollie, you were in Maribor when I had that crash over the brow, and that was a huge one.
Yeah, that was
and I remember feeling quite similar then. Like I felt insanely sick. I felt like I couldn't see properly. I was agitated, and like couldn't move for quite a while until like, and I was so agitated. There were people in the ambulance that I just grabbed my bike and rode down. And then once I got to the pits, it was like agony for like an hour or two. Just like I felt so sick.
It's a mad thing, isn't it? Because I've found no correlation personally. I've had 9 where I'm really interested in all of it, and it was like I was quite hyped to talk to you about it because I've had so many, and I've been so worried about it. Actually, I've had 9 like ones where I've gone to sleep, but they're not necessarily the ones where I feel the worst after. I've had ones where I haven't been knocked out, and then I've not been able to hear, and I've had ones where I've like really struggled with noises afterwards, and they've not been the ones where I've been asleep. I don't know what to say, when I've gone unconscious. I sound like a child.
Yeah.
The one, like I've had ones where I've just, it's felt like a big crash, but it's not necessarily been the biggest head impact. And then afterwards, I've felt I had months where I couldn't go to. I couldn't have 2 noises at once. Was my thing. I went.
That was
to
a big
hospital.
one for me. Yeah.
Was it really? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was like loud noises were fine, but lots of little noises was unbearable. Like I couldn't. And then when I was at races, and they were saying like, "Is the mic all right?" Because I would like sit in the pits. I was like, "Well, that's all right." But it's when like I went to a restaurant and everyone was chatting and there was music, and like my brain just couldn't like deal with it. It was just, and I had to like get up and leave, and then like it was an overstimulation, and then stimulation, and then you just get insanely tired, and then you have to go to sleep for a bit. But it's weird that you say like your ones where you were actually knocked out didn't affect you as much, because I have this theory. I'm not sure if it's proved or if it's real, but I feel like when people are knocked out, it gives the brain the chance to like heal a bit, so you're not instantly overwhelmed with like lights and noises, people asking you if you're okay, like your surroundings, like for the next, you know, however long. I feel like it gives you like 5-10 minutes of just like your brain obviously shuts itself out for it to heal for a bit, and then by the
like
time
a
you come back
reset
around,
almost.
Yeah,
I'm
just give it like some time to just I don't know.
I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but like hearing you in the series talk about it all is it was so like it it's so frustrating not being able to explain. That's what I struggled the most with, because I had like this annoying noise thing I had for, and I don't mean to talk about myself, but I had it for so long and I couldn't explain it to anyone, and I could really feel that was like it's like you can't put it in words, and it was probably the first time I'd had that when I was younger, and even when I went to hospital, they said I had whiplash. I had it for like 3 months, and they said I had whiplash, and I was like, Mum, what do I do? It was when I was quite young. What do I do? Because I don't know. It's like there's no answers.
It's crazy. It's kind of like it's because like in the series as well. I feel like I think Two Palms did an amazing job at showing like expressions on my face and like situations where I don't look quite right, and you can see that I'm agitated in a lot of the clips, like because you can never find the words to explain it. And I say in the series, like I have a much better like understanding and like empathy for people that suffer with like anxiety and depression and mental illnesses, because it's just impossible to put into words. And I feel like, and then not only that, you get annoyed that you can't explain to close ones what you're feeling, because from the outside you look fine. And well, obviously in the first couple of weeks for me, I wasn't fine, and I think everyone was kind of like, whoa, like this is serious. But as you get better and you start like slowly reintroducing normal life things, it is hard to explain to people. They can't quite grasp. You're like, no, seriously, like I was fucked. But I feel like it's like I said in my Instagram caption, it's like your injuries don't have to be visible for you to be suffering. And I feel like, to a lot of people, unless you're literally on a hospital bed, and it's like to them they can't quite grasp how severe and how impactful a concussion can be.
I think you've done a really great job of putting it across. I think when I was younger, I didn't understand. When someone said they had anxiety, I'd be like, about what? I have anxiety about, let's say I'm going for a brain scan. I'm anxious about going for the scan, or I'm confused. What are you confused about? Can you not remember what happened? But it's not like that. Anxiety and confusion can happen without any. That was what I used to struggle understanding, if you know what I mean. And I think
so did I. Yeah, I'm completely with you on that, because I was like, well, there's a problem. Let's find a solution.
Yeah.
It's just I just cannot. I really, really feel for those that go through it, because obviously I'm feeling a lot better. And I feel like there's a lot of people that don't hit their heads or do hit their heads and don't get a lot better, and it looks like a long time for a lot of people. And for me, it feels like an insane amount of time. It's like 9-10 months now of since the crash. But people, it takes them years, or people live with anxiety or a chemical imbalance in their brain their entire lives. And that to me, I just can't quite grasp how painful it must be.
Davey, dude, I know the answer to this question, but what is that box you have in front of you there?
Mate, this is my go-to every morning. This is AG1 by Athletic Greens. 75 different vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotic. How was that for an answer? It was pretty good, actually.
That was really good. It's
quite condensed. Yeah.
So AG1 has become. I have it every single day before breakfast.
Same.
I used to. How about I tell you what I used to do? I used to have endless boxes of little pills that I'd order online from different places. They were all different quantities. They were all different formats. Some of them were chalky. Some of them were oblong. Some of them were drinks. Some of them were this. Some of them were that. I don't do that anymore. I've completely deleted that from my morning routine. And now I make a delicious shake before breakfast in my AG1 Athletic Greens shaker. And I tick the box brand for the day. Yeah, it's a comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition.
I do exactly the same thing. always have it before breakfast. Empty stomach is when you should ideally take something like AG1. What I do sometimes in the week though, mate, I'll mix it up a little bit. I'll make my favourite smoothie, which is coconut water, a mango, banana, apple, and some berries. Throw that all in the blender, a few ice cubes, something like that. Boom, mix that thing up, mate. Oh, set up for the day with AG1.
That does sound nice. That does sound nice.
Really,
do you know what
tasty.
I do? I use my shaker. I have my AG1 on the rocks, dude. Because I always think that sounds cool when people say it in films. I'll have it
shaken,
on the
not
rocks.
stirred.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But I just put I put 2 ice cubes in, and then they kind of feel like they shake it even better, you know. And it keeps it cool, and it's really nice first thing in the morning before your coffee.
Yeah, man. I love this stuff. It's been a big part of my life. Knowing that you're nutritionally sorted before breakfast is a massive win to me. You know what I mean? You've ticked that box. Like you said before, you've ticked the box of nutrition. Like, it's done. Move on. Do fun things in your day. You know that you're optimised and ready to hit the day running. Okay?
I was about to say optimised.
It's a good word.
I want to get our
accurate
companionship optimised as well. That's the thing. So if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/ride companion to get your deal. It's a good deal, dude. It's a good deal.
Yeah, man.
The deal really is in itself Athletic Greens AG1 formula. That is the best deal that you can get in life.
Yeah, I agree. athleticgreens.com/ride companion. Links are in the show description, folks. Go take a look, and hopefully you will become nutritionally sorted thanks to AG1. Thank you.
Thank
AG1.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
AG1. Athletic Greens. Thanks.
Definitely. I think downhill as well, because sort of like probably enhances it for so many people on many levels, that you're coming into a race, the pressure's on, you've got sponsors behind you, not just as well at your level, but also the people coming through in the sport. You know, and it's a different subject, I know, but like, you know, you're not going to make loads of prize money. You're probably going to be on the back foot all the time. You've got probably a lot of people questioning all your decisions, like, why are you doing this sport? It doesn't really make any sense on paper. And I guess, it just harnesses that anxiety about everything that you're doing, I guess, as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a high, like, you got to think, like, I think racers that are at the top of their game and racing, I know people are like, oh, it's only 8 World Cups a year, but every single time and pretty much every day of the year, you're putting yourself in a really highly stressful situation. Like, if any of the other athletes are like me, like, I bully myself a lot, you know, to be the best, and, you know, well, if they're not training today, I'll be training today, you know, and that's such an unhealthy life pattern and habit. Basically, it's a terrible habit to have, because you just, like, you don't need anyone else to, you know, give you hateful comments or whatever, because I'm already doing that job for me. Like, I don't need like, that's not, like, I don't care about that. So I think it's like quite a worrying journey for athletes that can't switch off and can't see the fun side of it. And I think for a while that was me. Especially with injuries, like, you get an injury and you're like, okay, I have to be back by this time, and then you force yourself to be back, and then by the time you're back, that's it. Like, you don't get any break. You're back, and you're back in, and like, so you've worked so hard to get back, and now all of a sudden you're in these highly stressful situations again, and, you know, disappointment and all that. But obviously it's not all doom and gloom. Like, I've had like a few years before all my injuries where, like, I thought, like, it was the most amazing time of my lives, like my lives. I wish I had a few more lives, but no, it was the most, you know, and it still is, and I still have hope that I'll be back racing and with the team and feeling all those vibes, because it's definitely there. But I just feel like every now and then people just go through a bit of a shit time, you know?
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely. I think as well, like what you say about injuries. So when you break an arm, let's say, being a World Cup racer, I feel like is like a amplifier for it. Like, amps you up. It means that all of those feelings of getting back to it, you can just focus 100%.
Yeah.
You can, like, work towards your goal 100%. And it's almost like in that respect, the amplifier is doing a really good job. But when it's something that is invisible, you don't know how to fix it, and it can't be seen, I can imagine it works in the opposite direction. And I feel for you, because it must have been a lot of pressure that's like last season. And I think how we roll does put that across really well. I think it's.
Yeah,
I think it does capture it.
Yeah, I think obviously it is so like when all this happened, we were like, shit. Like we've gone. We're a small budget team. It might not look like it, but my dad goes above and beyond and to make it look like we are. He's very good at taking a small budget and making things look insanely good. But we begged our sponsors to invest into how we roll, and obviously we were selling something we didn't know that was going to be good, but everyone got behind us. And then obviously and I've been injured the past few years, and I've had a result here and there, won the World Cup in 2021. So, I had a few little results that I could kind of latch onto for my sponsors to be like, see, like, I'm still like, it's almost like fake it till you make it type thing. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like, I was fucked last year and still managed to win a World Cup. So you try and sell your soul basically and be like, please invest into us. And then, yeah, when that happened, I think, obviously, we don't have a huge budget, so we don't have the best riders in the world. But like I said before, that's not what we're about. But when your main athlete, who is meant to win, is there to win World Cups, gets taken out, and you can't explain, you don't know how long it's going to take. That was a very scary concept for the team, and obviously for my dad and everything we've worked towards. But we've learned so much, and then over time, Two Palms were like, look, we've got a great story here, nonetheless. Like, I think, but a lot of people were worried, a lot of sponsors were worried. We didn't know what way it was going to go, but I think we're super proud of how it has gone, and in a way, like in a twisted, horrible way, we're quite happy that we've managed to put this story out there. Because without how we roll as well, like, we wouldn't have been able to showcase what happened this year for me or for the team, and it would have just been another shit year for FMD Racing, So it's really cool. But we learnt a lot and maybe realised that, we can't function off of one person. And now we've got Phoebe Gale. Chaos is switching to a free ride. We've got another junior coming up, and we've got some plans for next year. And it just all kind of worked out in a way where I'm just like, I feel almost a lot less pressure now to be the number one athlete on the team. And I think poor Phoebe. There you go, kid.
It is such a super unique.
She's obviously so young, and she's got, like, when I was at that age, you're a junior, you want to prove yourself, you're a black horse, like, you a dark horse, you want to like get out there and show what you're capable of, and it's just, yeah, it's refreshing to see, and yeah, I am excited.
Yeah, it is a super unique situation though for your dad as well, and credit to Tony, as for being what looks, no doubt, an amazing father and an amazing team manager, because walking that line is not is not an easy. It's not though, right? Like, that is not an easy thing to do, is it? To walk that line as being your manager, I guess, I don't know how you look at it, but like a boss and a father, and then seeing you being injured as well, that's so tough.
Yeah.
Like,
well, there's no line. The line is blurred completely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no
he
doubt,
can't switch
no doubt.
into characters. But no, you're right. It is yeah. I don't know how he does it. I think he's always very, very stressed. Yeah, but like I said, as the team gets a little bit bigger, or as we mature more as a team, we kind of realise, like, as we brought in Elliot Harper, the team manager, well, not team manager, he's like athlete manager, and does some bits. So that's taken like a stressful bit off of Dad's side. Like, I now, like, before, Dad used to be my manager as well, whereas I've like shifted all that over to Elliot, so that's another thing he has to worry about less. As I said, chaos, focusing more on free ride, that's another like stressful thing off his back. So I'm sure he'll find more things to stress about, but it's going in the right direction.
I think at the moment it's probably that there's not really much of a plan for the sport in 2023. So I know if I was a team manager at the moment, I'd be like, pretty stressed at the moment.
I think they are all hiding it very well. I saw the Scott team manager when I was in Barcelona, and yeah, he seemed quite stressed as well. So. But as riders, we're just like, whatever.
Yeah, we'll just turn up.
There'll be a race and we'll turn up. Yeah, we kind of forget that the amount of stress that they go through.
Yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot.
Big time. Do you think having the cameras around throughout the year, did it change the team dynamic at all? Or was it much like, is what people are seeing on that documentary, is that the same as what it was in 2021? Or
Yeah,
Is it a different vibe?
no, definitely. It's like so Nick and Will are the filmers for Two Palms, and they just slotted right in like it was. The first obviously trip was a little bit weird because it's like you'll be having private conversations and like the camera's just there. And I think it took us a couple of trips to get used to. But like I said, the characters on the team, they're all so, I don't know, they just fit with the team so well, and we all get on so well. And so did Nick and Will, and it didn't feel awkward. And there's only like sometimes Will couldn't make it, so throughout the whole race there'd only be one filmer, and
Right.
so he'd just be sat around, and they just blended in. Really, it was really odd because when I'm looking back at stuff, I was like, I can't remember them being there, or yeah, it's just they were really good at being a fly on the wall, and like as you saw, like every now and then Chaos was like, "Can you get that fucking camera out my face?" You know, and they actually said at the premiere that Chaos was the hardest one to work with, only because like I think every time he saw the camera, he was just like, "What are you doing?" like go away, or yeah, because he like at the races, he struggled a bit mentally and stuff. So I think for Chaos to have a camera there constantly when he's struggling mentally at races was probably not ideal. But like I said, we love Nick and Will, and they did a really good job at integrating into the team. So yeah, in the end, they were just a part of the furniture. Bless them. With the cameras.
Is there plans to do another series, do you think, next year? Like, is this going to be an ongoing thing, or?
Yeah, obviously we would love to. Depends how well it goes, I guess. And yeah, we would love to take it to bigger platforms. We just had to start on YouTube and see how it went. But yeah, we would love to be able to share mountain biking with people that don't particularly ride, or we would just love for people to learn about our sport and what we all go through as athletes. But yeah, I don't know at the minute. We'll just see. We get this season out of the way and see.
I think your series is a great one to get people into it, because it is behind the helmet, if you know what I mean. I think that's what everyone's trying to get with the whole, like you said, Davey, drive to survive analogy or whatever. I think it is a real struggle, isn't it? As soon as you I think about it all the time. Like even if I'm just doing like a video in a different place, I think half face or full face. Let's go half face. You know what I mean? Because it's just more human, and it's more. I think as soon as you put goggles on, and it makes the person behind it disappear a little bit. And I think that the series has done a really good job of that.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
I just thought of something that I wanted to just ask you real quick, if that's okay. And that is obviously with concussion protocol, especially with other sports and stuff. In downhill, I think it's evident that at the race something can be done. I'm not sure what's done, if I'm honest. I don't know if you can enlighten me. I don't know what's done. But I think what's interesting is a lot of the injuries and stuff are done away from a stage where there's hundreds of thousands of millions, I don't know, people watching. So I think a lot of that has to fall on the athlete to like manage their own head trauma and stuff like that. Like, do you look at it totally different now? Do you have like advice for people out there that are maybe, if they hit the head, like what would you tell them and stuff like that?
Yeah, so there's a few parts in that question. Wait, so first of all, it's all right. The World Cups, there is no support for people who do head injuries. It is crazy. I witnessed Cade have a concussion in practice, and they said if he feels good, he should go back up. Not his team, the doctor.
Wow.
And Celia, actually, their physio did a really good job at, taking him to one side and testing and being like, Cade, I don't think it's a good idea. And Cade kept saying to me, I was like, well, and obviously I think for him it was very close to home because he had just witnessed what I went through. And I think a lot of people were kind of judging him a bit, being like, oh yeah, but it's so close to home, like with Tahnee, obviously you're going to be scared. And Cade kept saying to me, he was like, look, I just don't feel right. He was like, and for Cade to not feel right is like not very rare. So I was like, Cade, just like sit this one out. It's just a World Cup, like, and then see how he go. Turns out he didn't race the rest of the season because he just didn't, he didn't feel right. So, yeah, we definitely. I think now the riders, we've got a union. And that was our number one priority going into next year. Like, we need, it's not just head injuries, that's obviously the scary one, but we also had Brooke on the side of a hill for 4 hours straight, and couldn't feel his legs in Mont Saint Anne because the helicopter guy was on his lunch break, so it's just like, we're world class athletes, and I feel like we need world class care. We can't keep, giving this show and not getting it would just be nice to know that if we're risking that much, we have the people there that we need in case stuff does go wrong. Just that reassurance, so that we can give our best on race day without being in the start gate like, well, fuck me then, this might be the end of it. It's not nice. Yeah. Like, no, because and we are competitive and we are going to give our best no matter what's on the course or who's waiting for us. Like, at the end of the day, when I'm sat in the start gate, I'm still going to go 100% because that's who I am and that's how I'm built and that's how my mind's built. So kind of shoot ourselves in the foot, by still doing it. But I think now we've got a union and we saw the amount of people that got concussions this year and then still race and then broke themselves, or just there's a lot of conversation going on around there. And then and then again, when you go to see doctors, like you had, Ollie told you just had like whiplash. I think it's very hard to see, and like the NHS, they do as much as they can, but I guess unless you're in critical condition, I understand they need to prioritize people. You can't see a head injury, and like my scans on my head, I went private, luckily, through Red Bull, and my scans showed nothing on my brain. Like, there's like no swelling, there's like there's nothing. I did some reaction tests and my reactions were like some of the best they've ever seen, and I was like, yeah, but that's not the part of my brain that's affected. I couldn't say enough. I was like, surely you can see that I'm a shell of a human. Like I said to him, I was like, my emotions, it's not my reactions, I couldn't quite. And then the fact that they said that, you then feel crazy. And then this is the problem, is people go home and then they're like, oh, well, the doctors say I'm fine, but you feel anything but fine. And then you feel like you're overreacting, and then your brain gets even more stressed. And I would just, it's hard to give any advice because everyone is different as well. Yeah. But I feel like if you know something is wrong, then you've got to speak to loved ones, close ones. You've got to try and find solutions, but you can't put stress on yourself to try and be normal. You just have to, like, it's a waiting game. But anything from like conversations to people, to me that was tiring. Having like a 10-minute conversation was too much. I couldn't, like, eating a banana was too much. Going to the toilet, brushing my teeth was too much. So, I feel like you have to just switch off the brain for a few weeks and then see how you feel. But that's like complete rest. Like, I can't emphasize enough that, and it's very hard. Obviously, again, it's a lot easier for someone like me that's paid to go and race, and I can take the time off, and I do have the support. I think someone with a 9-to-5 job will find it a lot harder to turn around and be like, I'm struggling here. So yeah, it definitely needs more support, but at the minute I do feel a little bit helpless in that area.
Yeah.
I think it's
beautifully put.
Sorry, I rambled on there.
No, really
good.
Really well put.
I think the fact that you talk about it and stuff, like, I wish that I had when I it was a really long time ago when I had that period, and I think, like, I wish I could have just seen someone else. Like, the thing I've learned, I guess, is that, like, when you have something go wrong, talking to someone about it's so valuable. Regardless of what it is, it can just be a broken arm. If you just speak to someone who's also broken their arm, it just makes you not feel like it's quite a lonely place. And especially if you're a mountain biker and I would imagine you're the same as me. Like, I don't have much outside of mountain biking. Like, all of my friends and everyone I speak to is in mountain biking. And as soon as I'm injured, I just feel like I just go away and just to have.
Don't have any friends.
Yeah, exactly. You do feel that way a bit, don't you? Yeah. And like, I remember just thinking, I just wish I'd known. I think it's good that everyone talks about head injury now way more.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and I think what you said as well, like what you're both saying about talking about it, is super important. Not only just talking about it, like, to your inner circle, to your friends, to your family, but also using the platforms you've got to talk about it. Because obviously people just want to share on social media. It's just highlight footage. It's just like, look how fucking sick my life is.
Yeah.
But people actually need to understand all of those bad times, and Tahnee, Olly, obviously huge platforms, and it got me thinking as well, Tahnee, about what you said about, like, Brooke. So Brooke came on the podcast before we even started doing this, Ollie, and Brooke spoke about that accident. It was like the first time, but actually doing those things and using the platforms is what actually makes change happen, because that did spawn actual change. Like the UCI reached out to Brooke after all that, and not saying, you know, me or the platform has anything really massive to do with it, but it is important that you actually talk about these things and don't just hide behind it and think that sponsors don't want to see that, or the general public don't want to hear this from me, because
that is actually, you've nailed it there, because I know that my followers dropped hugely when I had my concussion and when I was sharing about my concussion, and obviously I can understand that people don't want to see that, because I'm also a victim of, you avoid bad news, like that's just what happens. Like, I think we don't want to see people, you know, left, right and centre getting injured doing something that you're quite happily going out and just poodling along and having fun with your mates and not thinking about getting injured. And that's fine, I get that, but there's also, now I just feel like my path has kind of changed, because so many people have reached out and said that they've had years where they've broken relationships, they've lost their job, they never felt the same, and it's been like 5-6 years and they never questioned that it was a link to their crash and their concussion, and now they have a weight lifted off their shoulders. They feel like they finally understand, and they're going to go and seek, you know, some professional help about their anxiety and depression, and that to me is like worth so much more than losing a few followers on Instagram, you know. So like, I can't shut up about it, because it is what, you know, what I'm going through. And like people say, you're allowed to make a big deal out of something that is a big deal to you. So, you know, not everyone will relate, but if one day they do have a crash, then they know where to go and have a look, you know. They know where to come back to.
It's powerful, and it is powerful, and you know, it is crazy how many people do reach out and that are supportive. I mean, again, slightly different tangent, I know, but we had it with the podcast last year, right? Like, I got injured, and it's crazy how much support there is out there from people that you don't even necessarily know, that are just like super supportive, really open to talk to you, want to help you. And I think
it is that feeling of being alone as well. I think that is what it is. So as soon as that, and when you see, because as soon as you've had an injury and you see someone else get it, I have so much more empathy now, you know, than before I had which sounds fucking stupid, doesn't it? Like, oh, you broke your wrist, I don't care about you, and then I break my wrist and now I suddenly care about you. But it's true though, you can't
you don't realise how much it affects people.
Yeah.
You don't realise. Like you said, for you, Ollie, like when you get hurt, it takes away all of your friendship group.
Yeah.
And you feel alienated and on your own. Like, that's a massive thing. So,
and also when I feel like when you're injured, it like it feels like it takes forever. But when someone else is injured, you're like, oh my god, you're back already. And they're like, oh, it's been like 6 months. I'm like, really? Like, it's just because you're so invested, I guess, in your own little bubble and your own world. But yeah, same as you, Ollie. I know I have so much more empathy towards people, but you know, it's and their injuries and stuff, but. Hopefully, I love the mountain bike community. It's just, you know, everyone supports each other. You get the few like odd ones that, you know, hate everyone and everything that breathes air. But
I think they're probably having a tough time too. You know what I mean? That's all I think. They're having a tough time, aren't they?
But overall, it's just been. I think we're pretty stoked on how many people it's actually helped.
Yeah,
wicked.
So you should be.
Yeah,
good
absolutely.
on you. I know we've got to be, sorry, Ollie, to interrupt you. No. Mindful of time, you've got to bounce pretty soon. So, a couple of things before you go, if that's okay.
Of course, go for it.
At this point in your career, what motivates you? That's it. That's a good one.
I like that. That's straight to the point. I like it.
I guess, like, obviously health is like a massive thing for me at the minute. So that's like my number one priority. I think I've just put that to one side.
Physical and mental health?
Definitely both. I've been so invested into race results and winning, and like, so it's like a unhealthy obsession, and like I still want to do that, but I just think having healthy habits and, you know, not trying to push through if something's wrong with my body or my mind and I feel it, I really want to try and like listen to it, and that for me is quite, I don't know, it motivates me to just know myself more, because I've been put in this sport from a young age, and I do feel like a little bit of not a walking billboard at times, but you know, the that's kind of what you feel like, and you know, at races, I love being at races, taking pictures here and there. I love getting involved with the fans, but I feel like there was never any me time. It was always Tahnée Seagrave, the racer, like Tahnée Seagrave in pink outfits, like Tahnée Seagrave, you know, this confident woman. Whereas, like, as soon as I like close the doors, it's like, it's like, oh, life, like, oh, the world, like. So yeah, trying to connect those two personalities, I guess, and be healthy is motivating me a lot to
That's awesome.
enjoy life for what it is.
How are you feeling now? Do you feel good now? You
Yeah.
seem good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was super cool. Like, I went to the canyon thing this weekend and I did a load of firsts. Like, you know, it's slowly been chipping away all year. And some things have taken way longer than others. But, like, I couldn't interact with that many people before, and seeing all the athletes, and then, like, I had, like, a gin and tonic for the first time and, like, just had one, you know, but then I was like, I was panicking a bit after it. But it's just reintroducing little normal things, and yeah, like I sat through like a few conferences. We went go-karting. I am gonna drop that I got third fastest time.
Let's
I was
go.
pretty proud of that. I'm not gonna
Drive
lie.
to survive.
I was like, I don't have to mention it. I don't have to mention it. I got third. Not in the race, but the time was pretty. So, because I was super worried that I was gonna turn up on the track, and it was. Have you guys seen Talladega Nights?
Yeah.
And I was gonna be like that guy that's like, oh my god, what are those things? Or like, I was gonna be so slow and think that I was going fast. Like, I was literally, when they said we were going karting, I was just like, oh my god. I got like the sweats before going in the kart. Like, I was just like, I've never been so nervous.
You're such a professional athlete.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like,
I've got to win.
I was just like, oh my god. I was just so scared. And then, yeah, it all worked out fine. But again, those were like 10-minute at a time, and like concentrating for that long. Like, I've only just started driving recently, so that was really cool. And then like I stayed up until like 1 a.m. and that for me, again, like my sleep has been a huge part of this entire process. So that's definitely something. Just going outside of my comfort zone a little bit has been like quite challenging. So this weekend was just amazing for me at the canyon thing, and watching other people's stories got me super motivated and inspired. And yeah, I'm doing well. And then everyone said, like, you look really well, and so that was obviously nice. Don't look like I'm just a shell anymore. So I feel like my soul has been fed, you know. I know that sounds weird, but I've become such a, like, what's the word?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've just got so intact with all of that side of things now. So I felt like, yeah.
What sort of things have you done? If you don't mind me asking again, I know we're trying to be mindful of your time, but like, what sort of more mental health things have you been focusing on? Is it like a meditation practice? Is it solitude? Like, what is it?
Yeah, I did loads of things, like whatever felt right at the time. I did a lot of meditation, and like, I looked forward to doing that. I would meditate 3 times a day when I was really bad, because that's all I could do, and it felt like an exercise. So that was great. I did some drawing, but again, after a few minutes, that would kind of get a bit too intense. But mostly, meditation, like getting up in the morning and doing a little stretch with some breathing. That was what helped me most, I think. But again, it's because it's the only thing you can actually do for a good couple of months. So,
do you feel as though you've gained a lot of perspective from it all? You know, like, you kind of, it's easy to go through life thinking, taking things for granted and stuff. And I feel like the one good thing from going through it possibly could be perspective, you know?
Definitely. Like, you know, I've had to tell myself that, you know, it happens for a reason and whatever, because if not, I would have just kept going deeper in the dark hole. But I think I've just appreciated, like, when you go on walks and people are like, oh, look at the scenery, like, even that was too much. I would have to look at the grass or the ground in front of me or the rocks on the floor. Like, you just have to take everything in that's like in front of you, I guess. And yeah, I don't know, I never used to meditate. I never cared about much, like, was so naive, like, I don't know, whereas now I'm just like, every moment matters, and that's like, I just like being in the moment now, whereas before I'd be like, oh, stupid walk, like, or something, like, I hated walking, you know. I still kind of do dislike walking, but I'll appreciate more. Or when we're stood in a queue at the airport and it sucks, like, I'm not as irritated as I used to be, you know. It's like, whatever, like, so yeah, definitely. And I think that's something huge, because I think if I'd have carried on like I was, I would have had like, I believe I would have had something similar, or a bigger crash down the line, or like a mental breakdown, or something.
Yeah, I was going to say a breakdown.
Yeah,
maybe,
a lot, like a burnout. I think I already had all those things all put into one anyway. So, but yeah, it was needed.
It's super important, and you should be super proud of yourself as well that you've lifted your head out above the sand and you've taken a look at everything more holistically, deeply, the whole life plan and everything like that. It's a tough thing to do because, like you say, you're caught up in it, right? And it's addictive too. Again, you've got a huge platform, you've got no doubt money being made and all this pressure on you. It's addictive to stay in those negative patterns. Not negative, you know what I mean? Not negative patterns,
No,
but
I
like
get
in that
what
negative
you mean,
mind frame, and then to come out of it and look at everything and appreciate everything more. It's tough, but a beautiful thing to do when you can do it, for sure. Anything else you think we should end on, Oliver?
Well, I was just thinking we should promote the series, How We Roll, from FMD Racing on the FMD Racing YouTube channel. Anything else, Tahnee?
No, that's
Any
it,
big
really.
shout-outs? Anything?
Nah, fuck him.
Tahnée Seagrave!
Beautiful, thank you, appreciate you. It's obviously, quick social shout out if you do want to follow Tahnee, if you don't already, at Tahnee Seagrave.
Come on, everyone follows her.
Yeah, that's Tahnee Seagrave.
So they're unfollowing me now.
Amazing.
Good.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate
Big
your
thanks.
time.
No
Really,
worries.
really cool.
Thank you guys for
Big
having
up.
me.
Woo! I am toasty. Ollie, the weather has changed, mate, in the UK. It's brutal out there. And winter riding isn't really getting me motivated at the moment. Thankfully, we have good news. We have some products that are going to help our listeners. But I wanted to just quickly hand over to you. What are the worst things about winter riding in your opinion? Like, what do you struggle with to get you out and
Look, dude, I can
go biking?
The cold I can put up with, all right? I can put up with having cold hands. I can put up with being a bit chilly and pedalling a bit to warm up. Do you know what I cannot and will not put up with?
What?
Wet feet, dude.
Oh, it's the
Wet
worst,
feet.
isn't it? It's
the worst. Thankfully, Adidas 510 and Gore-Tex, it's a three-way collaboration, they've come up with a solution.
They have indeed, mate. And I could not be more stoked to tell the podcast family about the new Trail Cross shoe. Okay? I'll be brutally honest, mate. These things came through the door. I couldn't not go biking in them. So I have used mine already, which is a testament to how good they still look after going out on a wet,
They look
muddy
clean.
ride. Okay? I kept my feet up the whole time.
Good on you.
So let me hit you with a few stats, a few statistics,
Love to hear.
explain what Gore-Tex 510 Adidas say about the shoe. This is the ultimate wet weather riding shoe. The Trailcross range was built from the ground up, starting with the 510 dotted outsole for flat pedal performance on the bike. Now, we
already know, right?
We already
know it works.
lock
right?
it in. The stealth rubber is industry leader, isn't it? Really? Let's
Yeah,
be
you're
honest.
asking about stealth rubber. Ask Sam Hill. You know what I mean? Ask Sam Hill.
Exactly.
See what he thinks of it. Yeah.
Exactly.
What are we doing here, dude?
So this Trailcross GTX is a high-top design, allowing for use in more extreme conditions alongside Gore-Tex waterproof technology for all-weather protection. Now, what I love about these shoes, mate, from the first ride, is I like this little neoprene top on it, which closes really tightly, because like you, I hate having wet feet, but I also hate when you get little stones going in down the back of you or in the front of your shoe. And this little neoprene sort of closing feature stops all that.
It even looks warm. It
Yeah,
even
they do.
looks warm.
They're like wearing a wetsuit, basically. It's so good.
Look, I've had an idea. I haven't used mine yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and try them out. And I was thinking, it's the right time of year. I'm going to challenge you. Go out for a wet, muddy ride. I want clips. I want to see what you're putting the shoes through. I want to see how wet or not wet your feet can get.
Okay.
And
I'd do that.
We'll compare them.
Accept
I'm
the
gonna
challenge.
do the same. All right, challenge accepted. Done.
Challenge
Brilliant.
accepted. You know what I'm also going to do when I go out and do this challenge? I'm going to try this coat out too. Right? I'm going to try this new coat. This coat, dude, is called a Pack Light, and it's made from virgin waste materials. It's generated from production scraps, cutting scraps, post-consumer household waste to avoid the larger environmental impact of producing virgin content. It's Gore-Tex, obviously, so I think it's going to be super warm. It's going to keep me super dry, and it looks pretty dope too. So I'm going to wear this.
Same as my one.
I just wear it better. It's similar. Do you know what I mean?
We are Gore-Tex up.
We're Gore-Texed up, and obviously we want some of the companionship to be Gore-Texed up, right? So let's just tease it right now. We're going to do a Gore-Tex giveaway. We're going to give away the ultimate winter survival kit, which is going to be made up of a Pack Light Gore-Tex 510 Adidas jacket
and
a pair of Trailcross shoes.
Brilliant.
And
all you need. Oh, is there more? I know what there is. There's going to be some of the Ride Companion pre-ride coffee, because there's
going to be some pre-ride coffee in there.
If you get warm at first, then you'll keep warm throughout, right?
Science.
So, and that's science, right? And that's
science. So we're going to throw in a bag of coffee as well. So the ultimate wet weather winter riding pack.
Dude, how do our listeners get their hands on this? Do they have to?
Okay.
Are we just teasing this or what? Like
we're just teasing it up. We're just going to tease it up right now. The actual giveaway is going to start next week. But to be in with a chance of winning, I'll give you a bit of a heads up, folks. You've got to be on our mailing list. And to subscribe to the mailing list, all you've got to do is head to theridecompanion.co.uk, scroll to the bottom of the screen, subscribe. That's it. Once you're on the mailing list, you're going to be in with a chance of winning, but we will launch official details of the competition next week. I'm just giving our companionship a bit of a pre-warning, a bit of a heads up.
Nothing wrong with that. I tell you what, I don't normally sign up to email things, but when you're signing up to our email thing, it's nothing but good stuff coming your way, isn't it? Yeah, it is good.
No spam or killer, no filler on that thing.
Absolutely, you know it.
All right, well, big up Adidas Gore-Tex. If you want to learn more about these products, just head to adidas.co.uk and then head to the Terex Gore-Tex section. You'll find the Trailcross, you'll find the Pack Light, and you'll find a bunch of other dope products on there as well that are going to help your biking experiences.
Amazing. Thanks,
Thank
Gore-Tex.
you. And we're in. Cold
What
Club.
A guest. That
Back
was fantastic.
in
That was a good one, wasn't it?
That was great. Yeah, really good, mate. I've been really wanting and trying to get Tahnee on the podcast before, like going all the way back when this thing first started. Getting Tahnee on was really wanting to do it, but we never made it happen. I think I might have spoken to, it might have been Chaos actually.
Yeah.
Who was like, yeah, we don't have Wi-Fi, bro. It's like, okay, that's a great excuse. Don't worry about it. But yeah, that was good. Like super stoked to get Tahnee on, and I think she's talked about a lot of very important subjects that are going to hit home with a lot of people. So big
Definitely.
up Tahnee. And if you haven't already, I know we've already promoted it, but the FMD series is a great watch. Like it is
really good. Yeah,
really good insight into the sport. So yeah, stoked, super excited. How was do a bit of niceties, man? How was your weekend? What did you get up to?
Weekend's good. Hey, dude.
Good.
I'd be crazy if I didn't talk about it. It's cold out, right?
It's freezing, dude. It's so cold out, to be honest.
It's unbelievable. And I know I had loads of messages. I posted a picture of my bike and it had said -1 degrees or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know that isn't cold. And I know there's people shouting at
there's people in Sweden that are like,
shut up. But like, it's cold for around here. And it feels like it's come up quick, right?
Yeah, it does feel like it's come up quick.
Yeah.
It's been I think we spoke about a few episodes ago where it went wet cold, but now it's gone like dry
cold. Yeah
Scandi cold, where it's everything's iced over and stuff.
There's no
had
loam.
a few there's no loam. We had a few gnarly drives over the weekend. Emma went to like a work Christmas party on Saturday, and I drove her there, no problem. It started snowing a little bit, whatever, you know, the Vito can handle a little bit of snow, come on. And then shrugs it off, mate.
Yeah.
And then I went to the gym, and I was in the gym and I was looking outside. I'm like, it's starting to settle a little bit. So, you know, got jacked and then left the gym and got home. Yeah, long story this. Hung out a little bit, and then when I went back to pick her up from the works Christmas party, another hour or so later, it was like 4 hours in total. It was treacherous.
Yeah.
Like, it was really bad. I'm really grateful that we got her we've got a Jeep before, so I had to use that. But yeah, it was gnarly out there, man. You got to be careful on those roads, dude. You see people out in all kinds of crazy cars, and you're just like, what are you doing? There's no need. I don't feel like there's any need to be out in it, but.
My grandpa summarised it perfectly. He said, just our country's not set up for it. He's exactly right. It's not. We're not ready for it. We're never ready for it. All the roads come
like
to
rain
a
in
standstill.
California.
Dude, exactly that. It caused complete pandemonium. Like on the roads especially, like people can't deal with it. And I appreciate everyone's just trying to be safe. It was interesting actually. I spoke to my brother about, he played in Austria for a little while. And apparently the driving test, maybe some of our listeners can enlighten us, but in countries where there is extreme weather, like not like -1, all right, yeah, get it, we're not really here. But like when there's actually proper snow on the roads, driving tests are much more thorough.
Right.
So
yeah, I can see that. Countries
are set up all the way for dealing with it, whereas ours are not.
No, I believe in Sweden a lot of the roads are heated. I believe. I'm sure, again, maybe someone can... Because I remember going there, obviously we did a lot of snow driving over there, going through Sweden up to Norway and whatnot, and the roads were just like fine, really. The back roads obviously are pretty bad. Have you ever gone snowblind?
No, what's that then?
That's when you're driving, imagine just driving literally into snow when it's coming down white, and over time you just go snowblind. Yeah, it's just like you can't see anything.
Do you have to wear tinted glasses or whatever?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I definitely had it for sure. Like, I drove all the way up to Swedish Lapland, they call it. So from the bottom, literally from the bottom of Sweden, Trelleborg, all the way up. It was like an 8-9 hour drive just into snow. Yeah. And by the end of it, my brain was fried, dude. I was knackered for ages after it.
Tough, isn't it?
Quite topical for this episode, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. The speed limits there. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, there's all these Scandi rally drivers. We're going down these amazing roads. Why is the speed limit so low? I was with Grant Robinson. I was driving from Harfjell to Aura. I don't know how you say it. Harfjell. Aura. Something like that. Yeah. I did all right.
Yeah.
Sort of. And anyway, I was driving along there. I was sick of it, man. And he was like, dude, pay attention. We don't want to get done for speeding. And there's a reason why these speed laws are in place. And I was like, come on, dude, what do you mean? And then I saw a moose for the first time.
And that shit makes you think, because they're absolutely massive.
They're massive. They're top heavy as well, aren't they? So they've got these stupid little stick legs and then just like a cow on stilts. Nuts, and you can see why. If you hit that at 10 miles an hour, if that goes through the windscreen, you're done, aren't you? So
loads of people get injured, especially in Norwegian countries, Sweden and stuff like that, hitting moose. Definitely.
I don't understand, like...
Is it moose? Do you hit moose or do you hit mice?
Yeah, we'll scrap that. Edit that bit out.
What's a collective moose?
I never understand, right? Hunting, okay? I get hunting. I get hunting and I eat meat myself. I can't knock hunting. I think...
Sorry, let me just pause you.
Yeah.
I feel like we might have got some new listeners from the Tahnee start of this, and then the episode carried on, and then this is what it normally is. Okay?
This is it.
We
can't help it. This is it. Look, we've done the good work, all right? Now you're getting the bit that... So, hunting, right? A moose, it's not really even running... Moose or mice, they're not really even running away. I think it'd be harder to hunt a mouse, not a moose. But a 100%. Moose isn't really running away. You do this noise, and it comes back.
I think they're fast, you know.
They're really fast, yes, but if they're there, you can just shoot them. They're not like... do you know what I mean? It's like shooting a tree. Yeah, but you can get real close. I don't understand it. I don't understand hunting something you can get real close. What are you going to do?
Can you get real close to a moose?
Fairly close. I mean, maybe our listeners can enlighten us, but I got pretty close with Grant. He was doing this. And it came back round. It was like, what?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, there you go.
It was running away. It had a child with it. He started doing that. I was laughing at him. I was pissing myself. And the moose just popped its head around like, what did you say? Sorry?
Oh, yeah, you're talking moose, are you?
And then I was just thinking, if I had a gun, you could just shoot the moose. You've really got this confused now. Let's move on to the next subject. I don't know how we got here. I know the next subject.
Yeah.
I've got a good one. It resonated with a lot of our listeners. We talked about heating systems.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
What's
now
the findings?
trying. So I'm trying my heating system on all the time, but at a low temperature. You have to bear with me, right? This is the first time I've had a thermostat that has a number on it. This is the first time I've had access to heating that actually works.
What's that number saying? That's on consistent.
I'm not made of money, right? It says
No.
15 at the moment. It says 15, but we're
15.
We're trying it out, but I'm putting it on full because so many of our listeners reached out and they said, "What are you doing on a timer?" All you're doing is then when it comes onto timer, when it starts heating, all it's doing is like heating mega hard just to heat up the walls again. You're better off just leaving it on the whole time. It kills me to leave my house and have the heating on, but I'm trying it out.
Okay, good on you. What is the heating system quite quiet in your house? Do you hear pipes clicking or anything like that?
It's good. I've just it's all brand new.
Yeah.
So we've just done it all. So it all works really well and it's all brand new. It's terrifying the thought of having it on and that steam coming out the boiler.
See, ours is it clicks a little bit, and that's what annoys me more than anything.
Yeah.
It's not really that it's cold or hot or whatever. It's like you just hear the pipe going,
and
the radiators knock as well sometimes, and I'm like, turn it off. It's just annoying. I just wondered if it was quiet all the time because that's what I think. And also, obviously, the boiler keeps going on and off. It's like doo-doo, and then it comes back on doo-doo, and it does that all the time.
Yeah.
And it just annoys me.
It is annoying. You've got to make sure your radiators are bled, and unfortunately, Davey, I think probably what might have happened is underneath your floor there might be pipes that cross over and they just gently vibrate and all of that, and there's no way around that really unless you want to get in there, put a bit of that pipe insulation.
There's one in the kitchen that makes it's like a rattling noise, and then if you just go and stand in the kitchen, it stops.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like you hear it and you're like, oh, just go stand, and you like move your feet in the kitchen, and then it goes off again.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it is interesting.
There we go.
Right,
to all our new listeners that we might have got on this episode, that's what we normally talk about.
Yeah, that's as good as it gets. I did a full battery on Friday in the snow. It was bloody brilliant. It was a way to go out and test the shoes that we've just talked about in the ad, but also super fun, man, to go out. I had a friend come with me who I've never ridden with before. I have ridden with him once before. He used to be a buyer at a company that I used to work with. He was passing and he's got an e-bike, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll come. Show me around the Peak District." And we just hit all of the highlights locally. Right. And it was so fun, man. Honestly, it was fucking cold. Excuse my French. It was fucking cold. You know what I mean? Fuck it. It was really cold. But super fun, dude. Yeah.
Did you feel your tyres? This is something I encourage anyone to do. When you're out in the ice, just feel your tyres. Feel how hard the rubber goes.
Does go hard, doesn't it? No, you're right. I did. Because I actually stopped at one point. We're about 15 minutes in, and I'm like, have I left like 50 psi in these tyres? Like, what's going on? Yeah. So I checked them, and they were rock hard. But it's bloody fun out here actually when it's snowy and icy because we've got so much rock, and it's kind of catches you off guard a little bit. But there's like rocks hidden everywhere, and it's good. I really enjoyed it. It's nice.
You can rein it in, can't you?
Yeah. There was no heroes that day. Like we weren't out doing anything silly, but it was just good just to go and do a full battery. Well, he did a full battery. Obviously, the Jam Squared didn't. We still had a bar left. But his bike did a full battery, and then we had to head back.
I think battery life deteriorates quite rapidly in cold.
Does in the snow? Yeah. I think we only did like 24 mile in total, which is
still a ride, dude. Yeah,
still a big ride.
It's a really hard one. That's one thing when people are interested in e-bikes, they ask about the range, don't they? And it's a really hard thing to summarise because there are actually so many variables. Like if you just go up a steep fire road, you burn so many bars.
He's the same as you actually. He was a turbo guy the whole time. Because it was only like halfway around the ride, and I was like, "Oh, what do you mainly put your bike in? Are you like eco all day?" And he was like, "I don't think it's ever been in eco, mate. I think it's in boost all the time." Yeah. I was like, wow. I'm like the absolute opposite of that. I'm just eco all the time. Yeah. I never put it in anything other than eco.
Well, let's get some turbo rides in when you come down this week.
Let's do it.
Please.
Right.
Hey, should we do some listener questions?
Let's do some listener questions. Then we can wrap this thing up. It's been a killer episode. It
has.
Not saying the listeners are going to spoil it, but we definitely could.
No, but let's not ruin it with our talk of mooses and heating systems.
Nice. Yeah. Hang on. We're on airplane mode, mate. Nothing's loading. Give me a ticket. Give me a tick. Okay, here we
That's
go.
all right. I can get it up as well. Yeah, let's do one each.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
You go first.
Can do. Start at the top, I think. Oh,
Ooh.
moi. Oh, do we do it?
Good one. It's a good one. I like it.
Moi head 1. Bit deep, but have you had your heart broken? If so, let's hear it. Wow. Okay.
You go first.
Yeah, definitely. I've had my heart broken, man. I was young, bro. Went travelling to Australia. Not to get too deep into this. Met a girl. This is when we actually met Australian girl who ended up moving back to England with me.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
So
Yeah.
this is when we went and did
our... as they could move as well.
Yeah, all the way around. We went and did our, year in Australia working. The plan was to go race Australian national downhill, race one race. Rest of it was spent partying. But apart from that, met this girl. The first week I got there as well, dude. First week, met. She was called Stacey.
Stacey.
Shout out Stacey.
Can we do accents? Australian accent?
Yeah, you can do that one, I think.
Stacey.
That's all Stacey.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And she moved back and she lived here for a few years. We were really young. We had our own place. Like, it was crazy, dude. And I'll go deep into the story one day. It's quite a crazy story, to be honest, how it all played out. And then she did the dirty. She cheated, drunk on a night out. And then she got sent home on an airplane. And that was it. It was done.
She got the sack.
Heartbroken. Yeah, big time. And that was like, again, I don't really want to get too deep into it on here now, because it's probably not the time or place, but that sent me on this weird trajectory of, actually, it wasn't really her. It was a little bit her, but like, it's happened 3 times to me. And it sent me on this weird trajectory of not really having, I don't want to say it, like respect for girls for a bit.
Was it? Yeah, you were like that when you were younger. Yeah.
Went on a bit of a like rampage.
I'll do it.
Just trying to like heal, trying to heal a broken heart. And sleeping around doesn't do it, folks. I'll tell you now, it doesn't do it. You're just band-aiding. It's fun, but it doesn't do
I imagine her plane ride was quite a long one.
It is a long one.
It is a long one anyway. I reckon that's going to make it feel a little bit longer, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how it all played out there, man. It was like, well, that's it. Game over. See you later. Booked a flight. Gone.
There you go.
Never spoke since, really. I mean, a little bit, but like not really. So yeah, heartbroken. There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Sorry to hear it, dude. Sorry to hear it, but quite clearly, life has moved on. Your journey has progressed to a better place.
100%, mate.
There you go. So it all happens for a reason, maybe something
like everything.
Yeah, I don't know if I've had it. I don't know if I've had my heart broken. Really, I had my first girlfriend when we broke up. She sort of that I didn't realise it was coming. So I think that was very difficult.
She did it by text as well.
No, it was, but we weren't living together and stuff. I just did it was just the classic thing, really. It was first girlfriend. She went to university. I stayed at home, and I was biking and working on building sites because biking wasn't really paying the bills at the time. And and I guess it's obvious, isn't it? If she's at university with all these exciting new people, and then she's got like backflip Barry back home digging footings, I can see why it wasn't very exciting. And I was very sad at the time, but honestly, every time I've broken up with a girl, afterwards I've had that like moment of clarity in between.
There you go.
Actually, is
you think it's all over.
You grow as a person 100%. You do. You remember who you are. I always think that's my only advice to people is when they're breaking up with someone is just to not rush into anything, because that's some of the best bits in between, when you realise that, when you get your own self-realisation that you're actually all right. I think that's really important.
You're so right, mate. You're so right. So right.
So I don't know.
You don't realise at the time. You're caught up, aren't you? You're caught up in heartbreak. You're caught up in thinking, this is it. This is the end. I'm going to die alone. Even though you're like 15. You're like, this is it. I'm done. Yeah. But, I know people that have split up really late on in life. I don't know. It depends. There's certain books out there, Sex at Dawn, stuff like that, who sort of goes against this whole thing that we're not meant to have one partner. We're meant to always be chopping and changing or whatever. But I don't know. Just
I'm pretty monogamous, I'll be honest. I'm not really...
Yeah, I'm pretty monogamous now. I'm done with
I think of it as something as fluid. I'm not like... it sounds really unromantic, but I think there are endless possibilities for you to find someone that you could perhaps spend the rest of your life with in different ways. But it's not about that. It's about finding one and actually like working to make
together
it work.
To make it.
Yeah,
a thing.
exactly.
Yeah,
like it's a
and
fluid thing
living
that's
your
ever
best
changing.
life.
Isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there you go. Wow, that was it. That was a great question. I like that. I like the deep ones are good. We might not do a great job on them, but we try, don't we? Yeah. Right. Okay. So we've got one from straight back into warning. Bike chat incoming. Jude Hall 05. High pivot hype. The future or just a phase? Great question.
Great question.
Great question. Amory Piron is going to tell you that high pivot with an idler works great, and he's sort of proving it does work great.
Yeah, true.
But what I would say, and I'd encourage people to think when there are these sort of like bits that become hype on a bike. You know, for instance, we've had geometry's been the biggest one in the last 5 years, in my eyes anyway. We're making bikes longer and longer and longer, and that's the only answer. It's the only thing.
It's always so interesting when you see an old post of someone riding, and you're like, "Fuck! Look how different the bike looks." At the time, you were like, "This is it. That's it.
Yeah, exactly,
this is it. It's as good as it gets."
Yeah,
and there's just this little subtle changes, throughout that 5 year period or something.
Totally. Yeah. What I feel like I've learned through working with people who are actually smart, working with people that design suspension systems and products, and real like minds that have spent a bit of time on it. There's always a trade-off. So just because Amory Piron goes down a hill with his high pivot faster than any of us, you don't know what he would on a non-high pivot bike. You can't argue that bike's not working. But also, it doesn't mean that on your trail bike, it's going to feel good when you're pedaling up a hill. You know what I mean? There's a trade-off. There's always a trade-off. That is design. It's about finding these like bits in between. So I don't think it's hype. I think it 100% has its place, and it's...
it's like you say, it's proving it is with certain brands, especially launching. Forbidden stands out to me. They're obviously making great bikes these days and got a load of riders on it. Yeah, and they're winning a lot of races. So
yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
think it's hype at all.
No, I don't think it's hype, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you need it. And there is a trade-off. If it's good at one thing, it's going to be less good at another. Just think of it as top trumps. That's, I think, the best. You've only got so many stars, you know? You've got to allocate them in different places. Yeah. So there's my answer.
Love it. At Onion Dude 72. So, by the way, I'll just totally hijack your answer too, because I can't bring anything more to what you said. 2 people you would like to ride with. No current mates. Olly and Jack Moyer for me. Steezy as fuck. There you go.
Hyped to be in that list, dude. And
doesn't say which Olly.
2 people. Oh, that's a good point. That is a really good point.
Yeah. There you go. Who have you got, man? Who springs to mind? I got
Mate,
for
honestly,
me.
Go on. You go on.
Number one, I'm especially after watching Gymkhana, the latest one. Travis Pastrana on a mountain bike would be a blast. Not necessarily for the riding, although I'm sure he's unbelievable on a mountain bike, but just for the chat. Like I want to pedal up a fire road with Travis Pastrana. That's what I want to do. I want to sit and pedal up a fire road, long one, real grinder.
Great answer. I don't, however, want to do a base jump with him after seeing the end of that Gymkhana thing. Very
true. Yeah, I also don't want to jump off a building with him, but. No. A long pedal up a fire road with Travis Pastrana would be amazing.
Who else? Who's the second?
Second person I'd like to go for a bike ride with that I haven't ridden with before. This one's sort of okay.
Ooh, the suspense, dude. The suspense.
No, sorry. I go Bryceland, I think. I've never ridden with Bryceland. Wicked, and I just think, again, it'd just be a laugh. I love what those guys are bringing to the table.
Follow Bryceland on the down, and then you get to see one of the best corners in the game. Yeah,
Bryceland down. That's
solid.
Yeah.
Don't get much better than that.
What about you?
Mine is going to be... I'm actually going to hijack Onion Dude's answer. Jack Moyer, for me, is... watching him ride, hit the clips he puts up, his Metal Mondays, all of those, the clips that he puts up. The fact that he wins races and he rides like that is one of the coolest things. And you don't
Yeah.
get as much of it these days. There's not as much room for flamboyant riding at the top of our sport. It's got very pointy. The pointy end has got very pointy.
Yeah.
And yet somehow he seems as though he's having a great time. He's charismatic. He's whacking turns. I'd love to ride with Jack Moore. My second one is someone that I just can't seem to get off their nuts. Is Cade Edwards. I would love to ride with Cade. He brings the hype, and he's one of the most... I like riders that do a bit of everything. I love that. I think I want to ride trails with him. I want to ride downhill with him. I want to pedal up with him. I think that's a good lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, and attached to our previous guest who's just departed the show. Because Cade and Tahnee are a thing, right? They're an item.
Yes,
that's
indeed.
common. Yeah. That's
indeed,
common knowledge.
Yeah.
Great answers.
Right, what else have we got? Is it my one or is it... Yeah, it's my go, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one, actually. Again. Bike chat, engage. From Joel Liff. Does the handlebar rise angle matter? Ooh, this is two things. Does the handlebar rise angle matter, or is it personal taste and fit? Much love. We're going really into bike questions now.
Yeah, it's a lot of bike chat. Stuff that I don't even think about on a daily basis or
is it? Yeah,
annual basis. Yeah, but
that's good.
So I'll hit you with my initial idea, my initial
Please.
thoughts on this, and see if they're correct. Yes, I think they do matter, especially for certain disciplines. Dirt jumping makes it way easier if you've got like some nice high-rise bars on, because it seems to make it easier to pull up. But also I think it's both. It's like it is also a bit of personal taste too, because you just got to feel comfortable. Whether you find that little bit of rise in stem stacker, I don't know, but I think just feeling comfortable is important on the bike. So answer, but I'm going to hand it over to the... No, it is. Now I'm going to hand it over to the professional rider who has been working on some bars recently to talk about this.
I echo your answer exactly in that I think it is a perfect mix of taste and... it doesn't matter ultimately. Whatever you choose that you like is right for you. I would, however, say... and I'm a bit of a caveman, right? But if this caveman puts a 5mm stem stacker underneath his stem, not on top because that doesn't do anything, all right, guys? I hate to say it, doesn't do anything. Yeah. Put it underneath that stem, I instantly notice and I feel completely alien on my bike. And I'm going to disagree with you on the high rise bit. I think there is a sweet spot. I think for pulling up, you don't necessarily... It's got trendy to have super high rise. And I don't think it's functional.
I was just thinking that some of them I'm seeing are a bit like Harley Davidson vibe, and that's not what it's about.
And it completely depends on you and your size and how you ride a bike. But if you have a super high rise bar on a trail bike, it's very difficult to weight the front end. And weighting the front end becomes really apparent when you switch between a 50mm stem and a 35mm stem. Again, these are tiny changes. It sounds ridiculous. I sound like I'm talking seriously about something that doesn't really matter, but it really does. As soon as you change, you can completely mess up how a bike feels, and you want weight on that front end. Otherwise, you're fucking up. You're going over the top of turns. You can't get grip. On a dirt jump bike, high rise for me, if I make it higher, I get way less power in my pull up. The pull up's like a lot in your legs. It's like imagine a deadlift with standard size weights on it, right?
Plates,
The standard size plate on a deadlift. That's just like a size. I don't know what that's dictated by, but it's the same on every bar, right? Every Olympic bar. From that angle, if you just put on a low weight, if you just put on, let's say you do a 50 kg deadlift, it's nothing. You explode. Then you put a 50 kg weight on it, but the plates are massive. You will find you don't have the same explosive power.
Because you're driving from your legs because you're lower.
Yeah, because you don't. It's like less of a lever. I'm trying to think of a better analogy. But
that's a good analogy actually, because it's about what you're saying. Basically, is about leverage.
Exactly.
It's about pulling up. You've got to have them far enough down that you can engage your legs and pull up through the body rather than being up here already.
The problem is a dirt jump bike looks very cool with very high-rise bars on. But if you have a look at Matt Jones's bars, you have a look at Nikolai Rogatkin's bars, and you have a look at a lot of Davy Berg's bars, and a lot of people that like pull up at trails, they don't necessarily have the highest bars, and I think there might be something in it. So that's quite a
That's a great answer, dude. I appreciate that, because I think if you come into the listener questions with deep bike chat, it's great. Love it. We're learning. We're all on this learning journey.
Yeah.
People have just learned something.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not necessarily this guy. Like, it's not, and I'm not going to try and pretend to be. I'll throw my opinion in there, but it's probably going to be wrong. But then you go to the professional, and then we get the actual insights and the actual knowledge, and that's what people are here for.
That's what we bring. The thing is, Davey, you say you're not, because I would also I'm not really nitpicky about bikes, and I've become it from my job. But actually, if we go riding and I stick some stem stackers on your stem, you're not going to notice it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably not. Yeah.
So it's just the fact that you've never had
doing
to
that,
do it.
isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly. I've never had to do it. Never wanted to do it. Yeah,
exactly. It is fun when you get it dialed, because it becomes. It's not because you notice it loads. It's because it completely, you don't think about it, and you get that feeling when you're younger, when your bike is just like an old boot, and you get on it and it's exactly right. And that's what I really love that about. So I'm really far away from the microphone. That's what I really love that about product design and bike parts. Yeah. When you make a bike feel that good, yeah.
Good, really good answer. Yeah, appreciate it. Next one, at Bob T Knob. Any tips on refinding the riding mojo once it's lost? Wow, we've had this one a few times, and it's sad, really, that people have to feel like they need to refine something that is incredible. I think this episode might help. I mean,
yeah, there you go.
Hearing about Tahnee, just lift your head up above the sand a little bit. Take a break from it like she did. Obviously she did it for different reasons, but take a break from it. Discover what you actually enjoy about it, and there's nothing wrong in not enjoying it for a bit. It's absolutely fine. I did the same thing myself. I had like 3 or 4 years away from riding. I just got burnt out. I'd had enough of it. It was the cause of stress for me, and I've come back into biking stronger and more stoked to do it. And I think, just look at the whole thing. Who are you riding with? Are they like filling you with enthusiasm? Are they going out and beasting you every weekend and you just fucking hate it?
Yeah.
Switch up your riding group. Like, ride with someone else. For me, it's riding with good people sometimes, and sometimes riding on your own. Just go and do what you want to do.
Great advice, Davey. I think I'm just going to say the exact same thing in a different order like I normally do, but I think that it's not one-dimensional riding for me, and I'm very lucky in that respect. Dirt jumps and a solitary cross-country ride are two very different things. So if I'm ever burnt out on one of them, I can always find the other one. So I never get burnt out because I've managed to somehow make it that broad and different. Some rides I go on are more like nature walks than they are a backflip, and that's important. There's also digging. There's also all of these things surrounding riding that I've found keep my love for it.
Don't be linear.
Forever growing.
It's not just one type of bike riding. Go do something else.
And maybe the answer isn't bike riding, and there's nothing wrong with that either. You'll find something. Follow your bliss. See what I did there, dude? Bringing it back.
Like it.
Bringing it
I
back.
like it.
Oiled machine. Okay, I've got one from Olivia, the engineer. And it's something that I think you can definitely echo, and I can echo as well. And thanks for the question, Olivia. Benny has picked up riding so fast, brackets, not jealous. Is Brendan a really good teacher? Benny has.
He actually has.
Benny has.
And Benny posted on Instagram last night. He posted a clip of him riding through some technical, I guess it's loam, but not really because it was
Frozen
rock hard. You were probably there with him, maybe.
I wasn't,
know.
I would love to have been, because he's bombing.
Same turns, yeah. And he's little cutty, he's doing corners, he's fucking in a nice position on his bike. And I thought, Benny's posted a clip of Bren. And then I looked, and I thought, Bren
must be a good teacher, yeah.
Bren must be a good teacher.
Benny's
he's certainly handing down, getting Benny on the same equipment, that's for sure. So
Benny, I don't worry about Benny. Benny, whatever he's going to do, he's going to be good at it. Don't get it twisted. Benny's fucking... If you told Benny to do a backflip, it could be in an icy car park, he'll do a backflip. He's a gymnast, he knows what he's doing, he's a rugby player, and he's fantastic at editing the podcast. See what I did there? Because he's going to watch this bit in. Yeah, there you go. So Benny's going very fast, and I think he's a product of the Surrey Hills, I would say. Riding 20-second tracks, doing it over and over again. He's picked up riding really, really quick.
Definitely. Should we just do 2 more? We'll just mix up, find...
Dude, we've got so many bike ones.
Yeah.
We have
got a
really,
lot of
it's
bike
heavy,
ones.
but I think the bike chat alert went down last week. Obviously, we've done a lot of them now, though, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Yuki Samson, what are the best Goodyear tyres for winter? So, as far as I'm aware, there's only one tyre and it's good for every bloody condition you can throw at it, and that is the Goodyear Newton MTF and MTR. Would you agree?
I would agree, Davey, and that's that.
Unless he means for the car, and then
There's all sorts.
I'm not sure of the model name, but there's going to be some good winter tyres out there for the vehicle as well.
Yeah, there you
Car
go.
vehicle, yeah.
Okay, I've got one from Rowan Child. Can you eat fiberglass insulation? I'm going to go with no. Thanks for the question, Rowan. It's a good question, and I hope that
how poor you are.
Yeah, I hope that you're not in a position where you have to eat insulation. And if you are, just instead of messaging the ride companion, just call the police because you've been locked in the loft and we want to get you out. I hope you're all right.
I like this one. DML lit. Olly kept becoming part of 50 to 1 a secret. His cruising trails in their latest video.
I've meant to click on the 50 to 1
I've seen
latest
that.
video. What's it called? We need to shout out 50 to 1.
I saw the trailer. I think it's called
Content Deliverance.
Content Deliverance. They've put
Brilliant
a book
name.
out, and it's on DVD, which is fucking sick.
Yeah.
Imagine if we could release these episodes every week on DVD. How many people would buy one? Comment in the comment below.
0.
Imagine them in a row on the shelf. What's that? Oh, it's
Yeah.
Ride Companion.
Oh, I'm hyped.
76.
I've been meaning to check it out anyway, but
Yeah, you're in there, dude. I've seen you on the trailer.
Brilliant, hyped, well good.
Yeah, people reached out in the DMs. They were like, "Ollie's in the trailer. 1 minute 28."
That was actually at the Ride Companion. We did that was actually at the Freedom Ride, and we had an evening, and we went to the trails. Shout out to Pi for opening up the trails for us, and it was such a good session with Luce, Paley, Josh. It was so cool riding trails with those guys, and we had an amazing time.
Amazing, love it. Can we end on this one?
Let's end on it.
At K4M.jf. How do you get through a snowy ride? Right, I've teed this up for you. You're either going to knock it out of the park or you're going to miss it completely. So I've teed it up. What does he do with it? Here we go.
Quite frankly, and as you've already learnt from this episode, there's only 2 words that you need to consider. The first one, Davey, tell him the first word.
Gore-Tex.
Tex. I was going to do the second one.
Gore.
Tex. There you go. That'll do.
There you go. That's how you get through a snowy ride, folks. You'll see it.
Absolutely.
We are, as we've already spoke about already, it's a little reminder before we wrap up the episode. We are going to be giving away a care package from Gore-Tex. But before we tell you how to do it, you've got to be signed up to the mailing list. So make sure you head to theridecompanion.co.uk, scroll to the bottom of the page, sign up to the mailing list, and in next week's episode, we'll be telling you how you can win a Gore-Tex care package made up of the Trailcross shoe, a lovely coat. We've got some pre-ride roast coffee in there, and we're going to throw a couple of other little goodies in there as well for you. So also, if you're on that mailing list, you'll be the first to know about our new merch, which is going to drop in the coming next couple of days with a little bit of luck. We're hopefully going to get it launched before Christmas.
Yeah.
And should we wait and tell people what it is, or should we do it? Yeah,
Let's wait.
Should we wait?
Let's wait.
Yeah,
Let's wait.
It's
It's too much news.
sick.
Yeah, it's good.
So sick. So yes, so make sure you sign up to the mailing list. You're going to win something potentially, and you can get some of our new merch, which is sick.
What an episode. Many thanks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Tahnée Seagrave. This has been TRC 75. Send him out, Davey.
God bless.
Brilliant.
So here we are at the end of the podcast, and we would love to keep in touch with you. So don't forget, follow The Ride Companion on Instagram. It's at The Ride Companion. If you just want to follow Ollie, it's at OW_23. And of course, here are some clips that we think you might like. And up there, you can subscribe to the channel. We'd appreciate it. We appreciate you. Thanks for watching or listening. Have a great one. Peace.